Good evening, everybody. This is Casper from the Tropical Weather Threat Society, bringing you a kind of an atypical tropical update. We're currently down to 10%. 93L is not going to develop. But there is definitely a rainfall threat associated with 93L, and I've got a little surprise here at the end of the live stream this evening. It has to do with the tropics, it's just not in our basin. And I know other people may already know because I've shared it into our private chats, but bet you won't guess where this one is. It kind of shocking a little bit for July. So, taking a look at the overall basin, our waves are running into a whole bunch of dry air out here, and as you can see, the convective activity is very sparse. So, the main development region is not necessarily waking up yet. We've got to have a few of these, vigorous tropical waves to kind of come through and help break down some of the dry air that is definitely still out there from the numerous amounts of Saharan dust outbreaks that have come across the basin. So, zooming in on 93L here, as we could see, the center of circulation is kind of gotten a little bit west of Lake Pontchartrain there. It's not going to develop to anything. It's kind of just meandering around there. A lot of rain off to the western side. I did know of a flash flood warning that was issued for south central Louisiana earlier, and a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity. I am going to jump over here to Radar Omega here this evening. And folks, James, just so you know, I do have Jeffrey in here monitoring the chat. So if any audio issues rise, please let me know immediately. I will be checking though. As we can see, we do have a vigorous line of shower and thunderstorms. And if we put this in motion, this is currently rotating around on the western side. So as you can see, there is some southerly motion to these thunderstorms. So please make sure that you stay weather aware. It's not a highly impactful event, though. If we scroll down to our storm total precipitation, as you can see here where we have our flash flood warning currently, and we currently have 28 flash flood warnings, and this actually expires here in the next 13 minutes. But as we can see, we're looking at areas already, Doppler radar estimated maybe over 11 inches near Bell River. So flooding is definitely an issue here ongoing. So please, folks, be very careful. We've got a little bit more, couple bullseyes, popping up. But as far as what the models were showing, and the bullseye down here, just north of Morgan City, yeah, it's verified so far. There's no doubt about it. So please, folks, there's going to be a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity. Just stay safe. Don't drive through flooded roadways. Some rather inclement weather going through the evening into the overnight hours. So I'm going to click back over here to the browser. I'm checking. We should be good on the audio. And again, like I said, they've lowered this down to a 10% chance of development. We shouldn't be live, but it's the rainfall threat. And I promised everybody that we would be. Here's the WPC rainfall estimates over the next 48 hours. But there's one thing that I do want to show. And as you can see, we're starting to get the rainfall totals up here towards Tennessee, North Carolina, and then it starts to get out there over the open waters. And then it turns around and we may get some of the energy from 93L, just basically making a loop and come back around again next week about this time. So it's something that we're going to have to watch. And as you could see, the model blend is also in agreement with that kind of scenario. and we end up blowing up another bullseye, getting more rain, you know, down here into Louisiana where we're getting a decent amount of rain so far. Taking a look at the Weather Prediction Center, we have a moderate risk there for south central Louisiana. That's a 3 out of 4 on their scale for excessive rainfall. And as you can see, we have multiple areas with slight risks, and that's one of the reasons why we currently have 28 flash flood warnings active. Oh, let me go back. Day 2, as you could see, we still have the slight risk down here for most of Louisiana, coastal Mississippi, Alabama, and the extreme western portions of the Florida Panhandle. So that's still going to be associated with 98L's energy. That starts to get lifted up. And as we could see, we start to convect a lot of potential rainfall up here into the Ohio River Valley and getting up into the Appalachians as well. Tropical downpours and, hills and mountains don't mix very well, folks. So please, even if you know folks that are well up away from this, the soils are, all the ground is saturated up into this region right now. So any extra rainfall will lead to the potential of flash flooding. And as you can see, we also have a slight risk for that area for day 4, and then still staying in the marginal risk for day 5. So, folks, please be careful. No driving through flooded roadways. If we take a look at the mesoscale precipitation discussion, this was just issued less than an hour ago. And this is for the flood threat, or the flash flood threat and discussion. Banded convection on the leading western side of 93L continues to be intense, with the main band crossing I-49 around 21Z, which your local time, 21Z, would be 4 p.m. The orientation and repeating of these bands are tied to an axis of deep layer moisture convergence focused along the western flank of the circulation, with very moist and unstable inflow characterized by 2,500 to 3,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE and 2.5 inches of precipitable water. That's a lot. So the flash flood threat will still continue overnight, and downstream mesoscale precipitation discussions are likely to be needed overnight. So please, folks, especially when we get into the overnight hours and start heading into the early morning hours, that's when we could see some really, really intense rainfall. So if we look at our vorticity, it's there, but it's pretty much done for. And this is an earlier scan. By the way, this is the 18Z, so this would have been what it looked like at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time. But if we take a look at the wind shear, there's some low values of wind shear, and that's why, the storms are starting to kind of get in and around a little closer to the circulation here this evening. A quick look at Earth Null will kind of explain everything as far as the wind field and kind of the shear flow. Right now we're looking at the high pressure dominating off to the east out here. We've got our high that is funneling the air in like this. This is why it is just absolutely ridiculously humid in this onshore flow area. It's disgusting out here today in the Florida Panhandle. I know I walked outside at 5:30 this morning and it was just hot. It wasn't even like remotely close to even being cool. It was hot. It was rather disgusting. And though we got some rain, I want to say about 7, 8 o'clock, somewhere in that range. But otherwise than that, it has just been downright miserable out here today. And I'm sure everybody else is kind of feeling the same flow along the Gulf Coast. But just taking a look at our winds, if we go up 6 miles above into the atmosphere, this is where we've got our heaviest shear down here, a little bit further south, and a little bit lower shear with the high pressure trying to develop over the top of it, but it's pretty much lost its source. So if we jump over to the spaghetti plots, as you can see, the forecast is for it to come up, lift up the Mississippi River Valley here, and then rotate through the Ohio River Valley, and then eventually coming down out of the Carolinas, and another trough sagging here across the Atlantic. Maybe a piece of that breaks off and then continues back across the Florida Peninsula again, and maybe repeating this entire same scenario in about 7 days. Now, as far as development is concerned, now I've got this pushed out to the next 10 days, and this is the European ensembles here. We do notice a few little scratch marks down here into the main development region over the next 10 days. And that is much further out into the forecast. That is not any time into the near future. Could we see something? Maybe. Very low chance because the atmosphere is so dry. If I push it out 15 days, as you can see, even if we jump it into La La Land, we're not really getting a lot. The signals really didn't increase or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see the waves that are coming across and trying to add moisture back to the atmosphere to allow something then behind it to get out there and take advantage of the overall environment. The GEFS, I've got this out 7 days. As you can see here, the GEFS has a signal. If we run it out slowly, has a signal, and is similar to what we've seen with 93L, to where we've got a few little areas of low pressure and spin along this decaying frontal boundary that will be hanging out over open waters. And we could, depending on if one breaks off at the back end like we've seen with 93L, we could see the high pressure over the United States there, grab a hold of it again, and then just kind of rotate it back around. And we're just basically doing a loop-de-loop. Now, if I push this out 10 days, as you can see, we get a little bit of a signal. It's there at 7. That's not expected. 10 maybe. Now, if I jump it out into La La Land, we don't really get much after that. So and the GEFS, I mean, you figure earlier in the season when we get our convective feedback bias for the Central American gyre, man, you push it out 15 days and it'd be like some kind of epic Armageddon coming up from the Caribbean into the Gulf. You don't see that anymore. If we take a look at the European AI model ensembles, now I've got this out 10 days. Again, we see a few scratch marks out here in the main development region, but nothing up here in the Gulf or along into the southwestern Atlantic. And if I even push it out 15 days, 2% chance, folks? You want to put money on a 2%? I'm not. Not at all. So looking at the probability of a tropical depression, this is from the Euro. I'm just going to run this forward. Now keep this in mind. This is 20 knot winds or greater. And we're running it along just so everybody can get a look from hours 24 to 72 all the way through day 10 through 12. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this to the tropical storm, and then we're going to run this forward. Because a lot of people on social media love to show this graphic and be like, oh, look, we've got a chance of a tropical depression. Is it really going to be a named storm, folks? I mean, getting 20 knot winds. I mean, that's basically, around 25 miles an hour, a little less. What are we talking about? Of course we're going to have a little bit of wind out there. Tropical wave will produce that. Taking a look at our yesterday's global models and taking a look at their accuracy, we can always look at it in hindsight, not foresight. So if we look at the models, the Euro is the one that had the least amount of decrease in its accuracy yesterday, But boy, the GFS and the CMC absolutely dropped off a rock yesterday with their forecast from the 15th to the 16th. So, again, we're having some issues, but we're making sure that we monitor this on a daily basis. I mean, we can do it for the hurricane models. We can do it for our regional models to where, our little mesoscale models. We can check a lot of these things. And if anybody ever wants the website, just let me know so this way you can monitor it. Also, if you're interested, taking a look now, our NOAA or our NASA dust model did not necessarily load very well today. So we're switching over to the CAMS model, and the CAMS model goes out 5 days. This is from the Euro, and we're going to go ahead and run it forward. And as you can see, a very large and intense dust outbreak is forecast by the CAMS to reach across the entirety of the main development region over the next 5 days. So some of those scratch marks that we were looking at in our ensembles, hey, it's got to deal with this. So don't expect much of development at all. We're still in basically kind of roundabout peak dust season. And for the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook, we do not have anything over the next 3 weeks that is being called for through August the 5th. The CPC has nothing. Now, obviously, they update this once a week, so we're going to have to watch over this as we go into next week. Maybe when week 3 becomes week 2, we may see a signal, or new week 3 that would put August 6th through basically the 13th. That's when we may see something. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Taking a look at the Eastern Pacific, nothing. Central Pacific, nothing. Taking a look at the satellite real quick here. There's nothing out there. Now, folks, we have a tropical cyclone in the southern hemisphere. Now, keep in mind, it is winter in the southern hemisphere, but it is in here in the southern Indian Ocean, and I will pull up its forecast track. Now, it's not expected to be a tropical cyclone throughout its entirety of its lifespan, but the circulation itself, if you notice, comes up this way. This right here is the equator. Tropical cyclones in the southern hemisphere spin clockwise. Tropical cyclones in the northern hemisphere spin in the opposite direction, counterclockwise. That's what we're all used to. This one is spinning clockwise, and it is going to be heading towards the equator. So, over the next, say around 7 days, next week at about this time, take a look at, if you want, and if you remember, take a look at the southern Indian Ocean and see what's going on with tropical cyclone number 1. And as you can see here, it is not forecast to remain a tropical cyclone very long. Joint Typhoon Warning Center gets it up to around 40 knots. The ensembles, even for the GEFS, bring it down to 1,003 millibars and then drive it back up. And then it's starting to potentially make that turn, getting caught up in some of the flow and being drug up into the northern hemisphere. So something to watch for certain as we go forward. So that one is it's certainly an interesting one. I'll pull up the infrared here, and it is rotating clockwise, so it is spinning. This tropical cyclone is spinning. Let me see if I can find a good color. Well, we'll just do it up here. This tropical cyclone is spinning in this direction. as to where our tropical cyclones in our hemisphere spin the opposite way. So it's something to watch, that's for sure. I mean, we're talking about, and I'll show you all the water temperatures out there. It's not like it can't do it. So I'll draw the line on the equator, and it goes right through here like this. So this storm is currently located in around this region here. So it's possible. So it's got the water development. It's moving into a little bit of cooler waters and then, some warmer waters. But by that point in time, we're looking at a shear impact. All right, everybody. I don't really have much more on the... we can switch back over here to Radar Omega real quick, just to make sure. Our flash flood warning down here. We got a new one, and this is not good. That's in a bad spot. So let me turn off our Tropical Genesis Outlook, so this way we can turn on our flash flood warning. Central St. Charles Parish in southeastern Louisiana, Central St. John's the Baptist Parish in southeastern Louisiana. We're looking at between 1 and source is radar. So, and this includes Interstate 10 between mile markers 198 and 211, Interstate 55 between mile markers 1 and 4, and Interstate 310 between mile markers 5 and 11. I'm not going to read off all of these cities here and locations, but what we can do is zoom in here so everybody can kind of see where this is at. Please, folks, don't drive through flooded roadways. I mean, these rainfall intensities are definitely there. They can dump a lot of rain in a very short amount of time, and we just want everybody to stay safe. We do not want any fatalities associated with a non-named tropical cyclone. We would hate to see, statistics from just something that had an invest tag. So I'm going to check my... Oh, hi, Betty. Let's see. All right, good deal. We're having zero audio problems and difficulties. I do thank everybody. We got another flash flood warning. This one is observed. Okay. Central Rapides Parish. I know I pronounced it wrong, so y'all can get me. I know Grasshopper will be all over me for that one. Train spotters reported, so we're looking at between 2 to 3 inches have fallen. Another rainfall rate is 2 to 4 inches an hour, with another 2 to 3 inches are expected. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected, but train spotters reported. We are looking at no interstate, but Alexandria, Pineville, Alexandria International Airport, Paul, Colon, Kingsville, or Collin, Tioga, Paradise, LaPuce, and Woodworth. So, then this one is observed. So, that is, a serious issue, especially when you look at these storms right here are still forecast to move in. So folks there in Alexandria, please, please, please take all precautions. Do not drive through flooded roadways. I just hope we don't see a flash flood emergency tonight. That's all I'm really hoping for, is that we do not see a flash flood emergency. So, all right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and shut it down tonight. We will not be live, obviously, tomorrow night. There won't be anything there. And we won't be live for, however long it's going to be till our next storm pops up. So take care, everybody. Stay safe. And we'll talk to you again soon, but hopefully not too soon. Have a great night, everybody.